Advanced HE Guide to Benchmarking Reports. Detailed benchmarking reports are provided to all participating institutions. These reports include statistical analysis and comparison of your results against a range of benchmarks. Let's start exploring. We'll have a look at a summary table first. You can see the results of all your chosen benchmarks on this table. You own your results and can choose to keep them confidential or published to inform prospective students. Whilst benchmarking percentages should not be published until the national reports are released, you are free to publish your ranking and quartile position should you wish. We just ask that you give a balanced picture of the area you're reporting on. These Excel worksheets are completely open and can be adjusted to fit your own reporting processes. Here I'm going to focus on the results for Poppleton and the global benchmark. Students at Poppleton are significantly more positive about research culture overall and within health and social care. We can see information on how significant this difference is in the comment box, which has details of the chi-square test results. To get a more visual illustration, let's look at a quartile map. Here selecting global quartiles. Quartiles show us where the institution stands in relation to the benchmarking group. Here we see that research culture is all quartile 1, which means the institution is in the top 25% of institutions in the group. Here the global benchmark. This isn't the case for everything. For example, in arts and humanities, several areas are in the lowest quartile, quartile 4, the bottom 25% of institutions. Note that this is comparing within each area, so comparing arts and humanities at Poppleton to arts and humanities and institutions globally. But interestingly, research culture comes out well for every area. Now we can see which questions make up this summary question by hovering over it. Let's have a look at those questions in detail. Here we see the area is very strong, though the questions around research, community and ambience are highlights. But is there another way to present this finding? Here we are back at the index and I'm selecting the dashboard analysis comparing Poppleton and the global benchmark, and here's the dashboard. We can see the graph of overall differences between Poppleton and the global score here, and graphs for the most positive and negative statements. The primary dashboards are also available as PDFs. You can use these as they are or adapt the dashboards in the Excel workbook. If you want a PDF of any dashboard, they are formatted to easily save as PDFs or print out. Note that to the right of the dashboard we have all the source data for the graphs, so you have access to all the numbers they are based on, and you can change the graphs to show internal breakdowns, for example. Okay, so we have the wider research community as one of the key positive statements. Which is also highlighted here as being of high significance. Again, on the quartile graph, we can see that research culture comes out as an excellent area for the institution. So I might decide to copy it to another application, PowerPoint say. As standard Excel charts, you can alter them to fit with your internal reporting styles and highlight areas of excellence or areas requiring support, helping focus discussions. Here we have a breakdown within subject cluster of the aggregate score quartiles. We see that arts and humanities has the lowest quartile position out of our clusters. And here we see this illustrated with the absolute difference between the aggregate mean for global score in arts and humanities and the score at Poppleton. Again, we have the most positive and negative statements here for the discipline areas, with the most positive and negative scores relative to the benchmark aggregate. Here there appears to be issues around teaching and professional development, though note that these differences are not significant, so perhaps one to watch or triangulate with other data. Here we have the survey summary areas graphed against the aggregate, and a clear visual indication of how research culture is doing. As before, we have a couple of sentences about the differences overall, and key statements for most positive and negative areas picked out. I can easily transfer the text and figures to a word processing package. So in a few minutes I've got the content for a report that shows the top statements, and I can contextualize it by looking across discipline and demographic breakdowns as well. The benchmarking dashboards include smart analysis of demographics, looking at the demographic questions where there are relatively strong differences between your institutions and the benchmark. The analysis then looks at the difference between categories and the area where perceptions are most strongly differing. Here it's overall. And then looks at statements that illustrate this difference. A range of breakdowns are also used to present results on the ranking dashboard, again available as a PDF and in the Excel workbook. The ranking dashboard is designed to be an easily accessible overview of results across 4 key areas: overall, employability, assessment and retention. Where an institution is in the top quartile and in the top 10, the ranking will be given. The information on the ranking sheet can be published at any time, but it can also be kept confidential to the institution. It's your data, so it's up to you. If you want to look at the data underneath the summary tables, dashboards and rankings, that's available in the Detailed Data tabs for discipline and demographic breakdowns. This includes all the quartile information, statistical testing and detail counts for all the questions and summary variables. Detailed data can be handy if you want to feed survey results and analysis into your own business information systems. The benchmarking reports include a range of other information, including detailed response rate tables, information on which institution are members of which groups, mapping to various things like National Student Survey, VITO Research and Development Framework, and information on the calculations, statistics and so on used in the reports. Which groups you benchmark against and whether to have an average or quartile score is up to you. Custom benchmarks can be created to match key competitor or comparator institutions, or a sector sample weighted to match the subject and demographic mix of your institution, or a similar report using the structure of programs, departments at your own institution. For more details about the options or more information about what you can do with benchmarking reports, see our website or get in touch, surveys@advancedhe.ac.uk.